Three stay-at-home mothers who have tackled parenthood now have a new challenge, and they're going to go out and find a job. And this is in a tough employment market. Nearly 500,000 jobs have been lost this year alone. But the moms are determined to get back out there and enter the job market. And so we've gathered some experts together who can give them some great tips. It's Good Morning America's financial contributor, you know her, Mellody Hobson, and executive headhunter Stephen Viscusi, author of On the Job, How to Make It in the Real World of Work, and real estate mogul Barbara Corcoran, author of Use What You Got, Lessons I Learned from My Mom. And they're going to help sharpen their interview skills and get them ready to go back out. But Barbara, let me start with you. How much of a disadvantage are they out at right now, coming back into the workplace, having been out of the workplace for a while?
I think everyone who's hiring anyone appreciates that people leave jobs and raise families. So that's not in the way. The biggest challenge is their own attitude, thinking they have a disability coming in. That can get in the way.
Well, Mellody, what is the biggest mistake that moms make when they come back into the workplace, come into interviews?
Well, I think one of the things that I see is they talk about their kids way too much in the interview. They lose the focus. They get it off of their job, the job that is at hand, and their talents and skills, and they just spend too much time defending what they've been doing, which isn't necessary.
Stephen, and ways to turn it to your advantage that you've been out of the market for a while?
Well, I think it's sometimes a plus that you've been out of the workforce. You come in with fresh ideas and fresh thoughts about what's going on. So you're really like outside the box.
So you want to sort of start up front by assuming it's going to be an advantage for you.
It's not a secret. And by the way, keep in mind, it's all about chemistry too. So it's really important that the chemistry be really good, no matter what you've been doing for the last 2 years.
Okay, I'm going to start with one of our moms, Claire Julian, mother of 2, right? And you want to get back into sales?
Sales, yes.
Sales and marketing. And why do you want to do it right now?
Well, it's a good time to exercise that side of my brain again. Being at home with 2 small children takes a different kind of energy and a different set of skills. But getting back into the workforce will help me to challenge my intellectual side of my brain again.
Okay, I want to show everybody, because you went through a mock interview, and you went through it with Lee Miller, who's an expert interviewer and author of A Woman's Guide to Successful Negotiating. We're going to play it for everyone, and then we're going to get some tips from our experts. So here's Claire.
Well, since you've been out of the workforce for a while, do you really think that you can come back and just kind of hit the ground running in this job?
I do.
How? Why?
I've spent a lot of time thinking about it, planning it, talking to people. I've been doing tons of networking, finding different people's jobs, what they like, what they don't like about it, and doing a lot of research.
Would you be willing to take less money than you were making in your last job?
Yes, this is a bit of a career change for me. So I understand there is going to be a learning curve. I'm not an expert in this field right now. I have a lot of experience with it, but I'm certainly willing to work with you.
So if we needed to give you kind of a significant cut from where you were, that'd be okay?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. I've got to go to my boss when we're done. And when she asks me why I should hire you rather than somebody who's currently working in a similar job, what should I tell her?
That I'm a very passionate person, as I've mentioned to you, Mr. Miller, and I want this job. I can do this job. I understand that I'm at a disadvantage, if you will, because I've not worked in the past few years, at least in a paying job. But I have even more to prove, and I can prove it to you.
I saw Claire there with her fingers clutching tighter and tighter. Mellody.
I think, first of all, she looks terrific, very professional. I thought she was very scrappy. I knew she wanted the job. She made that extraordinarily clear. The only thing I would say at the end, she doesn't need to be defensive. She's not at a disadvantage. She's a professional woman who had a great career. So I'd give her 4 briefcases. I thought she did well.
Stephen.
I thought you looked great too for going back to work and a new start. Don't cave so quickly on the money issue. Be out there, be strong about the money. Cage around it. It's about the job, not about the money. See what happens with that.
Barbara.
And you're not going to rate it?
Oh, I'm going to give you 4 briefcases too, like
Okay.
Melanie.
I'm going to up front give you 5 because I think you come across eager for the job and your close was so strong. The only criticism I have is there were too many ahs and uhs in the first half of the interview, which would make me believe you're not a good writer, which whether it's true or not. People tend to write as they speak.
Okay. A lot of briefcases there. Let's move on now. Let's move on to Sharon, because 10 years ago, you were Director of Communications at Prudential Insurance.
Yes, I was. Actually, a couple of years ago. I've been out of the job market for about 2 years.
Okay.
And I decided to stay home with my daughter. She was going into a new school, and it worked for for me to stay home.
All right, let's take a look at the interview.
What do you hate to do?
Let's see. I don't know. Sometimes I hate filing expenses. Sometimes long meetings.
What would your prior bosses say you could do better?
Well, let's see. They might say, okay, let me think for a second.
Okay, well, take your time.
I'm sorry, I'm stumped. I'll come back to that if we can.
Okay. Are you interested, if you do well here, in your prospective boss's job at some point? Should he get promoted or leave?
Perhaps.
Okay.
I hadn't really thought about that.
Okay, you're wincing. Melanie.
Sharon has a terrific, varied background, and I think she needs to use that to her advantage. I would have liked her to be much more decisive in this interview and really hit these questions a lot harder. If that meant more preparation, then so be it. I love that blazer she's wearing, but I would have liked to have seen her in a matching suit.
All right, Stephen.
Sharon, you clearly were a little nervous, and that's okay when you start interviewing again as a new mom. But remember the old saying, practice makes perfect. So practice at home, practice with your husband, practice with your kids, or even try going on practice interviews with temp agencies and things like that, where it's not as nerve-wracking as a big career job, and you'll see how well you do.
And Barbara.
Your best tool that I saw off camera was that $1 million smile you have, and you didn't use it once. Using that smile would have totally changed the entire interview.
We're going to get behind you before you go for your interview and shake you, get you smiling. Okay, you can hold up your briefcases because next we're going to move on to Jennifer, a model who is going to try to get something. You think you have an aptitude for accounting?
In teaching, actually.
In teaching?
Yes.
Okay, here's the interview.
Are you sure you're going to want to be a teacher and not something else after a little bit? You know, it's very tough being a teacher.
I honestly don't know for sure. I think that I want to give it a try because I think I'll have the flexibility with my family, and that's probably my first goal.
Do you read anything about what's going on out in the education world?
That I'm not doing. I feel the way I'm keeping current is with my children and their lives, and they're being involved in the school mostly, and trying to understand what's current from that.
In preparing for this interview, what is it you didn't want me to ask you?
What my weaknesses were, probably, because what I'm not sure that I can bring to the job.
Melody, you're up.
Okay, I thought her candor was great. She was very, very honest with her answers. The one thing I would say, that first answer about why she wants to be a teacher, you want to be a teacher because you want to teach. Using the family as the reason sounds like it's convenient. So for me, I'd say it's 2 briefcases.
Ooh, got to jump in on the teacher thing and really
Exactly.
want to teach.
Exactly.
Okay. Stephen.
Yeah, I think it's important also to figure out the right job for your first job. Maybe not starting as a teacher, but a substitute teacher, or trying something that's going to work in your family lifestyle, which is emphasized as important. But you did a good job, and I give you a 3.
And Barbara.
I think your honesty, contrary to what she said, is your worst enemy. I think you were entirely honest and it worked against you. You were so truthful in your answers. I think you need to learn how to act and give the right answer. So the worst answer to what do you most want about this job is a flexible schedule. That's poison to an employer's ears.
Oh, that's a good tip. That's a good tip. All right. Well, I think you all were fantastic. This is really hard to do. Stick with us. Let us know what happens out there, and we'll let you all mill afterwards here and get more tips. And thanks to the 3 of you again. And of course, there are tips for everybody who is out job hunting and interviewing. And if you want more of them, go to our website, abcnews.com.